Let's find a section of the song that has lots going on in it. Essentially that has all the drums, sound effects, everything, and we're just going to loop that stuff. Actually, I think this has everything in it. And this is a good place to start in regards to how this all sort of comes together. And the reason why I like to do this is because I can go through and solo and mute certain things and sort of beef up the track as we go. So looking at our mixer, just gonna focus on the drums for a second. Here's that redrum track now. And let's first talk about compression, what compression is. This is one of the first things I'll start to use in my tracks. Not everything needs compression. Let's first talk about what compression does. A compressor, it's a device that you would find either in software or hardware, and originally was designed to sort of tame volume levels. So there weren't any crazy spikes, things like that. And typically what it does is it makes your louder sound softer and your softer sounds louder. So if we have, say, a waveform that's going along, and if I'm compressing it, it's going to make my louder sound softer, so it's going to bring that top portion down, and the softer sounds it's going to bring up. So it's going to squash, or compressing it that way. So when we squash that, we also gain a little bit of headroom, which allows us to bring up. This will allow us to create this perception of the sound being louder or more upfront or more in your face. It can also, if you do too much, will destroy the overall sound or the integrity of the sound of whatever you're working with. You can definitely overcompress things and it doesn't sound very nice. So what I've done was I've created, on the inserts, I've created, down here in my effects rack, we have an EQ, which we'll talk about in a second, but we're just going to focus on the compressor first. So I have a drum track playing, and we have our compressor working right here. So bypassed. This is what our sound sounds like. I'm going to turn the compressor on. You can already hear it starting to work. Now the parameters of a compressor. The threshold is at what level, at what dB, does the compressor start to react. I mean, I've got a sound here that's pretty close to, you know, you can see it's even spiking up here. That's how loud it is. So if I bring up the threshold, let's say I bring it to minus 22 dB, that's where this sound, that's where the compressor is going to start. So anything above, say 20 dB, and we'll just put it at 10, we'll make it easy. So anything above 10 dB, it's going to start to squash. How much of the squashing is going to happen is your ratio. So we have 1 to 1, which really isn't going to do anything because 1 times 1 is 1. 1 divided by 1 is 1. Let's move on up to where it says 2 to 1. 2 to 1 ratio. So let's say we have this set at minus 10 dB, right? And my sound that's coming in is, say, minus 4 dB, right? So minus 10 to minus 4. So the compressor is going to start to work at minus 10. It's going to read, oh, well, I'm going over 4 dB. It looks at my ratio and it says, okay, well, 2 to 1. So for every 2 dB I'm over, I'm going to output 1 dB. So if I'm 4 dB over coming into the compressor, then it's going to be a 2 dB output. Basically, it's cutting it in half. Now the thresholds go up to infinity, 16 to 1, 4 to 1, 8 to 1. All of them are going to change how the compressor works and really the overall sound. I'm always a big fan of less is more, so you don't really need to overly squash a lot of things, but this will help you sort of bring out or build out a thicker sound when used properly.